Junk blues.
Yeah, and welcome to another video. So this has been years in the making.
Yeah.
It seems like we were going to hook up years ago and then you've moved 9 times.
Yeah.
All over the place.
I did, man. My God, I can't believe I'm still married.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, you can get like, my wife's a gypsy. So like you move and she's like, this is fine. You know, this is great.
I didn't realize I was marrying a gypsy. I know now.
So this is Jed Hughes, amazing guitar player.
Thanks, man.
Much loved by all the cats in town. It was one of the first things I always heard. Like I would talk to players and they'd always be like, well, have you heard Jed play? I'm like, no, I haven't.
That's cool.
You should hear Jed play.
I've been paying him off for years.
Exactly. So what we're going to do today is you have your own, you do sessions and stuff like that, but you create your own music, have your own band, your own thing too.
Yeah.
So you kind of are good at, I'm not saying that the other guys aren't because they're all fantastic, but you actually create your own music.
Yeah.
And strive to have your own sound, where I think a lot of people have to kind of, if you're in the session world, they develop like almost like a chameleon thing where they can play anybody's sound but don't necessarily have a sound of their own all the time.
Yeah.
So notice watching you playing, it was cool. You were just kind of vibing on chord progression and then stretching out a little bit, doing your own thing. So what I thought we might do is baby step our way into what you were doing.
Yeah.
And like maybe take a simple 3-chord progression.
Yeah.
And then just show them like maybe different ways you can play that chord on spots in the neck.
Yep.
And then concentrate on a little of what you can do over here.
Yeah.
And then you also started throwing in some stuff that was super cool, ear twisty kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Baby step them into it. So to begin with, what's our chord progression?
So fundamentals, I'm thinking about E for a while, and then I'm thinking C7, you know, just the top of the chord, or the bottom, depending on how you look at it. And then A with a C sharp in the bass. That would be your regular A. I like thinking about moving from C to A that way because you get one note ascending, which I kind of really get into that kind of thing. We can talk about that later. So E through C7 through A, back to E. And as I'm going, I can show you these inversions as I'm thinking about them. Should we start with E?
Yeah, let's break them down one at a time.
Yeah. So E, I'm thinking about when I'm sort of like, you know, rolling around down in this first position. I'm thinking about these two shapes, E around this second position. And then I kind of think of this D shape over E as well when I have this in the bass going on. So I think of these as sort of relative cousins, you know. And then I'm thinking E over A, back to E.
So you do a lot of like moving bass line kind of deals, even though you're droning on the low E.
Yeah.
You're a lot of movement in the bass notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of thing?
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking of quick change to the 4 and flat 7. And when I'm doing that, I also flip to keeping a static E lower as well. So this kind of becomes this at that point. You know, there's so many little variations you can do with that.
Show a couple of little real slow tweaks, like different spots you can play.
So you can always pivot that one, you know, that's a classic one. I like those little quarter tone bands. You know.
So at that point you're using the E on the D string as kind of like a root home bass, and you're almost like soloing and playing a chord at the same time.
Yeah. Sometimes I like to do that until I'm bored, just to find every variation possible. You know what I mean? Because if you make yourself sit and do that, I feel like you can find all kinds of little nooks and crannies just in first position.
So just show them that, just really slowly, but not so much rhythmic over here, but like different note choices that you could make with that E.
So you could, there's 4/1, flat 7, G over E. You got G over E. I like this one. It's G and C sharp. Then you've got D. Sometimes if you want to make some tension, you got that C over E, C sharp, and then this is a good one to get back to your E. They're just little moves that like kind of throw your ear a little bit.
Okay, so rhythmic wise, what's a easy, that's, like for a lot of people that's complicated to get two things going at once. Is there like a beginner pattern that you could show somebody to start? And what fingers are you using?
I'm just using thumb and first finger.
Okay.
So let's see, here's a good simple one to start with. That's a simpler one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm always muting with my palm on that E. And just barely with the D as well. Like, I kind of use this all the time. I'm always thinking about controlling the decay of notes in relation to the feel and the timing and the tempo of the song. That would be a good thing to sit around and practice.
Yeah, show them really, like break it down like half speed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do it one more time and I'll zoom in on your hand.
Yeah.
Okay, so then from there, how do you start breaking up between the thumb and your first finger to make it more of a kind of a rhythmic excitement?
Yeah, so I think that's probably when I start to use the middle finger to grab like double stop things, So these slower tempos are really good for practice. I gotta make myself play slower. Less coffee. That's a good one to introduce that next finger. So I'm going thumb, first finger, middle finger, first finger, thumb. And the whole time I'm doing that, I'm also aware of releasing the pressure on my left hand to stop sustain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To kind of like...
So it doesn't run all together.
Yeah, so it doesn't just spill all over each other like a big mess. It's a very intentional kind of...
Do it without, if you can, do it without muting. So people hear the difference. And then now do it with the muting.
So the way I'm shutting down this note is I'm actually just like totally gently pulling off, to kind of stop it.
That's like a good example of somebody where they could hear that style. Or somebody you like.
Somebody I like. Well, I always hear that kind of thing in Billy Gibbons playing.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Like his like stop-start phrasing is like so killer and musical.
Yeah. That's like aggressive, nasty, awesome.
Yeah.
All in the right. Everything's perfect.
Yeah, and his timing is so unbelievable. You know, like the execution of like what he's doing is so musical. Yeah. So amazing.
So good. Okay, so give him some more to like as you work, do the kind of rhythmic stuff, but like work around the different inversions of the E.
Okay, yeah. Here's a higher inversion I like to get your way back down to first position. If you think of that as your A, like this shape, E to D. It's kind of E over C minor, really. If you had a C in the bass, it would be that. And then a B minor. But because we have E in the bass the whole time, we're using those that way. And a lot of the times, I'll grab those with 3 fingers and try to get them paired together as close as I can. I try to think of like a piano, the way a piano would voice it.
That's cool. Can you break that down slow?
Yeah. And I'm hitting the same rhythm on the low note, you know. There's probably other people that can do that better, but I can't. It's always got to roll together all at once. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We can do a quicker one at the end.
And you just do a little hammer on the third of the E at the end?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
A little something extra for the kids at home.
Okay, so if you start adding the C7 and the A, then like, how does that change as you move around?
So, you know, those are always like, that's where I start to do my learning. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the challenge I throw myself, because it's like, I do it as a quick change because I've got to think quick when I'm up floating around in other places where to find those. Where to find those chords, you know? Like in first position, I'm here and here, or I'm here and straight
So what chord are you playing when you play?
So I'm just playing these 3 notes of a C7, and then I'm grabbing these 3 of an A, but with a C sharp in the bass. Yeah. And I do it, I think 3-note chords because they're just quicker to get. Yep. You know?
Well, you know, the interesting thing about that too, and just learning a bunch of Van Halen stuff is I've found lately that it gives so much extra space for everybody else too. Yeah. And you can say so much with 2 notes or 3 notes tops rather than big, huge chords all the time. It really like makes the guitar like poke out in a cool way. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's sort of, by keeping it contained, you can almost say more. You know what I mean? With particular note choices.
So go up where you would use the inversions of A, like show them A, and then we'll do the C7, or the other way, C7, and then we'll do the A.
Yeah, so like A might be, I'll think of A as A, and then A over D, There's another A7. I'm not sure exactly what that one's called, but
sweet, you're that way too. People are like, what chord is it? I'm like, I have no idea.
yeah. It's funny, I think of it as A6, but it's not, because A6 would be up here, so. But I always think of these as interchangeable.
Yeah. It's like that blues move.
Yeah. And then C is kind of the same thing, you know? So that would be, I would think of that as C7. And then I would think of like, I would probably think of that one more, you know, that's C7. And then, so when I'm up playing, and I'm thinking of like in this particular one where it's moving through C7 and A pretty quick. If I'm up floating around, and it doesn't even matter if it's like not, if the chords aren't dominant, obviously, like, because you've sort of, it's fun to me to experiment with like chords that are not strict.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're just sort of like, I mean, it's gotta be fun, right? So it's not right every time, but I feel like that's how you discover things.
For sure.
Is by halfway getting there and being like, oh, well, maybe next time I get there. Maybe the next time on that street, I'll find a way to get to it in a cooler way.
That was cool. What was that?
That's like an A. I'm thinking like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally don't know what I'm doing most of the time.
Yeah.
Let me just say, like, I'm just stumbling over things to try and find new things.
Yeah. So some of it though, like obviously you know scales and stuff like that to a degree. So at some point when you're starting to build all these kind of things, do you think more chords by themselves, or are you like, you know, a little scale, a little chord and kind of throw it together to like walk from one place to another, or like...
You know, the way I look at it, it's like the things I gravitate towards that I want to incorporate in my playing are simple things that I can apply to any key.
Yeah.
So I think of like, when I first figured out those ascending voicings, I was like, oh, that's cool, because if I was in A, it could work like...
Yeah.
You know, so it's like any of those things that I feel like, for my brain, will apply to multiple keys, those are the things I try to like really kind of get under my fingers.
Yeah.
So I can move them around.
Yeah. Okay, so you did some ear twisters in the beginning. What were you doing?
Yeah, let's see if I can remember. God.
Just whatever, just freestyle. It doesn't matter, but just cool. Because you're kind of showing them. Yeah.
One I found recently was let's see. Like a...
Okay,
things like
hold
that.
on. You gotta break that down slow. That's all Kelly. Like,
Okay,
give us a place to start.
Here we go. Well, here's how I think about it. Like, there's your root and your third, right? And then you've got your 7, D, so we're in E. And then if you think of like a quick 4/1, so like... this kind of thing. So it's actually really just... if you think of it. So... mean, there's so many variations. But it's just finding those 1 or 2 notes that people are like, whoa, that was weird.
Where did you start to hear that in players? Like, who are some players where you started to hear that kind of stuff?
Roy Nichols with Mel Haggard, you know?
Monster.
Like, those live recordings, he would just grab one note in a thing and to be like, whoa, what was that? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
And when I first heard that, like I was in my early teens, I think, and that was what led me to like Western swing, because I realized that he was coming from, you know, Bob Wills and a place of swing and jazz, which I knew nothing about and couldn't really find out much about it where I grew up.
Yeah.
You know? So I was like on a quest.
Yeah.
Like, I got to know more. Like, what are these weird chords? Why did these notes twist my ear and sound cool inside of what seems like, you know, basic country blues?
Yeah, that seems to be such a common theme you hear with a lot of people, whether it's like you play with Vince or whatever.
Yeah.
Him or Brent Mason or like all these guys. There's so many people, even the guys in town that I work with, RJ, they all talk about Western swing. And it's like, and whenever I hear them do something, so many times it's related back to, oh, that's Western swing. And it's just like, why is that not more of a thing in guitar? Because it's so much cool.
I know.
It's like it's almost like humorous guitar playing.
Yeah.
But like at a technical, like terrifying level.
Totally.
You know, where it's like these guys that are so good that they're like, what weird way can I do something and still land on my feet and have it sound awesome? Yeah. It sounds like it's kind of Western swing in a nutshell.
Well, and it's like, you know, for me, like such a, you know, meat and potatoes kind of player, I feel like I am, finding those things are like, they're like the chords inside of other chords or the passing chords around rudimentary chords that make it music.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Give somebody an example. Like, what do you mean?
So like, one of the first ones I learned was getting from, let's take G, for example, getting from G to C. So if I'm taking like a 6, there's a very simple way to get, in an interesting way, get from G to C. It's half diminish. So I'm taking 1, 3, 5, 7, 3, sharp 5 to C.
Yeah.
You know, the first time I heard that, I was like, ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Or you could go, you know, if you think of C that way, you know? I mean, once you start getting into that world, it's like, whoa, I got a lot of homework to do. But
What's a good place to start to where it's not too technical, but you get the idea? Like to start hearing, because so much of being able to play guitar is your ear has to have heard it somewhere for it to start to be able to be like a digestible thing that you can apply in your own playing.
I mean, I would think moving one note at a time with rudimentary chords is a great place to start. So like, that's what I started doing, was just like, okay, well, I know that chord. Now, what if I start moving things around it? You know, or like, just moving one note at a time. And like, I mean, because that's the beautiful thing about those Roy Nichols things is like, you hear him all the time, you know, just changing one note and it's like, oh man. So maybe, you know, starting that way is a good place to jump off. You know, there's a good one. So this I'm just flattening the root.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the 7.
Beatles.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, what is that? That's
like 1,000 of their songs.
1,000 Beatles songs.
Yeah.
And then you know, I mean, God, it's
endless.
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah. It's so cool that every time I've found that somebody's gone down that rabbit hole though is like it always makes them a cooler player. Like, because I constantly will see players and I'm like, where did that come? Like, I never would have thought of putting those two notes together.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? And it's almost always jazz influence, but so many times it's Western swing. People are always like, yep, Western swing or something like that, just because it's, I think the music was in a lot of that stuff, especially in the older country, the music was still really cool and it didn't necessarily sound like jazz.
Yeah.
It was that influence on a country or influence on rock or something like that.
Totally.
But it's easily put into that and it still doesn't sound too outside. Like some jazz, you're just like, I can't hang with it. It's too much like too many weird notes, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's like hillbilly jazz, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's, you know, it's those guys, you know, picking out a few things and being like, oh, maybe I could put that in my playing, you know?
Yeah.
Or, you know, somebody told me that years ago. It was like, you know, country swing is just hillbilly jazz.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
Guthrie says that all the time too.
does he?
Yeah, but it's funny because you and he, you guys both do a lot of those cool, like just really ear twisty, like where did that even come from? In a context too where it's happening fast, you know what I mean? Like to where the chord progression is going by quick and it's like, wait a second, where did that even, but it still fits, you know?
Yeah.
It might be outside, but outside again in a way that's not too like acid jazz. It's just cool.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, that's an interesting.
Yeah, and a great resource for finding those things is from really great steel players that have that sensibility. You know, like Paul Franklin is just, you know, we were talking about him earlier.
I don't know if everybody out there, look, if he's online, look him up. His name is Paul Franklin. He's the Paul Franklin, most terrifying slide like lap steel player. He rips a guitar too, but like his creativity is off the charts. Like just the stuff it's like, wow, like where did that even come from? Like I've never heard that before.
Oh man, his chordal knowledge is like outrageous. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
He shows me stuff all the time, man, and I'm like, whoa, because you know he'll sit there and play pedal steel, and he'll play an inversion. I'm like, man, show me that. Yeah. He was like, all right, well it's this note and this note. He's like, and then if you move it up, you know, you can make like something so simple. He showed me the other day was, I mean, everybody probably knows this, but like moving a minor chord. Yeah. Like you're like on guitar, the way it lays out, you don't have to do anything. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But he did that and I was like, I was like, wow, it works over every shape. Like that's, again, it's one of those things where it's like something I can apply to every key without brain surgery thinking and, you know, and something I can utilize quickly and all the time. Well, and like you said, it's like, it's almost one of those things like, why didn't I think of that earlier? Yeah. Yeah. I know. That's the thing about being in a town. There's just like thousands of those kind of people where you're like, wow. But the other cool thing about being in town is there's like little pieces that you pick up from everybody, like little pieces like that. And then the level of musicianship is so off the charts. Yeah. But like you find out at the end of the day, it's just simple things that everybody learned and they just started piecing all these simple things together. And then, you know, in 15 years, they're monsters, you know? Totally. It's such a cool thing. Okay, so Jed has an awesome YouTube channel that he's dabbling, sticking his toes in the water. Yeah. Great songwriter, producer, like, I did not talk him up nearly enough. He's amazing. Thank you. Sign up for his YouTube channel. I'll put the link down below. And then also in the comment section below, I plan on getting Jed back a bunch. He's just like a wealth of awesome phrasing knowledge. So if you have questions, let us know. And people are always going to ask, what are you playing out of? A little Super Champ over there? Yeah, a little early 80s Super Champ. You mean it's not vintage 65 esoteric? It's probably the same year as me, actually. Is it? Are you born in 85? 82. Okay, close enough. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Sounds freaking awesome. Yeah, these are great, you know, because they're super light. They're super loud if you need them to be. Yeah. But they don't have to be. And it's a master volume, and so I can get a little bit of crunch out of the amp. Yeah. And keep it at bedroom level. Of course, now they're going to go up on eBay.
like $400 price jump.
You know, they've been creeping up over the last few years.
Shh, don't tell anybody anymore.
Yeah, just keep it between us.
Exactly. All right, so again, check his stuff down below. If you want some helps knowing about kind of those chord inversions that he's doing, check out at my site. There's a course called The Cage to Unleash, and it goes over all those kind of how to see one chord all over the neck. So if you want to expand that kind of knowledge, that might help out with that sort of thing.
Great.
Also, this is all funded by brettpapa.com, so don't be afraid to check that out as well.
Yeah.
And then everyone always asks about the gear. I list all my gear in the links down below as well. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your continued support. We'll catch you next time.
Appreciate it.